So how does a team actually win a World Cup match when they actively abandon the beautiful game?
Right. It's a great question.
I mean, seriously, I want you to picture this. You are stripped down to 10 men. You completely surrender the midfield,
Yeah, totally.
Stop trying to string passes together. You build a literal wall of human bodies in your own penalty box, and you just brace for impact against 80,000 screaming hostile fans.
Well, sitting over 7,000 feet in the sky, no less.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Today, we're doing a deep dive into a scenario where a 40-year national obsession just collided with extreme altitude, a pivotal red card, and, well, absolute unadulterated internet chaos.
It was basically a survival mission. We are unpacking the now legendary 2026 World Cup round of 16 match, where England defeated the tournament co-hosts, Mexico, 3-2.
Yeah, July 5th, 2026.
Right. And the venue, the iconic, deeply intimidating Estadio Azteca in Mexico City.
And if you're listening to this and wondering, why a single football match is worth a deep dive, it's because this wasn't just a game.
No, not at all.
It was a full-on cultural collision. Our mission today is to break down exactly how this happened. How did a battered, exhausted 10-man English side survive one of the most hostile environments in world sport?
We have the official FIFA match report, of course, but the real treasure trove here is our digital paper trail.
Oh, the Reddit threads.
Yes, we have scraped a massive, towering stack of Reddit threads from soccer, World Cup, our three lions, and Sarfer Circle Jerk to capture the real-time fallout.
Which brings us to a very necessary impartiality disclaimer right up front.
Yeah, we definitely need to state this clearly.
The sources we are using, these raw internet reactions, they contain highly heated, culturally charged, and often deeply hostile interactions between fan bases.
Really hostile.
Right. So I need to make it absolutely clear to you, the listener, right now. Neither of us endorses these viewpoints.
No, definitely not.
We don't endorse the insults or the hostility you are about to hear. We are simply acting as your impartial guides.
Right, we are just reporting on the raw, unfiltered emotion found in the source material to help you understand the cultural weight of this match.
Exactly. We're stepping into a digital war zone as neutral observers, nothing more.
Yeah.
So let's set the physical stage first, right? Because the geography dictated the psychology.
Oh, absolutely. The Estadio Azteca sits at 7,220 feet above sea level.
Which is wild.
For context, Denver, the mile-high city, that's only 5,280 feet.
Right.
But Mexico wasn't just armed with altitude, they were armed with desperation. I mean, they were chasing a ghost.
The 1986 ghost.
Exactly. Mexico had not reached a World Cup quarterfinal in 40 years, not since 1986.
The famous Quinto Partido, the fifth game. It's an obsession.
A total obsession.
Because the Mexican national team constantly makes it out of the group stages, only to violently crash out in the round of 16 every single time.
Yeah, the Quinto curse is a massive psychological burden. And since Mexico was co-hosting this 2026 tournament, the desperation from the home fans to finally break that curse on home soil, I mean, it was palpable.
You could feel it through the screen.
Right. It bled onto the pitch. It created this frenetic, chaotic energy that began long before kickoff.
I do have to push back on the altitude narrative for a second, though.
Okay, sure.
Does altitude actually change the physical game at the elite level, or is it just a psychological boogeyman?
It's definitely not just a boogeyman.
Because people talk about playing at the Azteca like you're trying to run a marathon while breathing through a cocktail straw. But doesn't the media hype make it worse than the actual science?
Well, it's not just hype. It's basic human physiology. At over 7,000 feet, the partial pressure of oxygen drops significantly.
Hey.
So your blood literally carries less oxygen per pump to your working muscles. This means lactic acid, the stuff that makes your legs feel like lead, builds up significantly faster.
Oh, okay.
And recovery between sprints takes twice as long. But, you're right to point out the psychology, because the Azteca is a fortress built on fear.
Yeah, the crowd knows it.
Exactly. The crowd knows the away team is struggling to breathe, so they amplify the hostility to ensure there is no mental rest to compensate for the physical exhaustion.
Which started the night before, right?
Yeah, Mexican fans shot off fireworks outside the England team hotel. They booed the national anthem inside the stadium. They shined green lasers directly into the eyes of English players.
They basically turned it into a war of attrition before a single ball was kicked.
Totally.
I want to jump straight into our first deep dive of these Reddit reactions, actually, because looking at how the fans digested this pre-game hostility gives you the perfect temperature check of the stadium.
Let's do it.
Let's look at the friction. User Kendrick Place was furious about the environment, pointing out, quote, fans didn't want them to sleep. Fans booed during England's national anthem.
Yeah, and they added, a fan pointed lasers at Jude. Good thing they lost.
Right, but the Mexican fan base saw this as standard home field advantage. Minute Night 45-6-3 fired back immediately, saying ignorant fans making a racket wouldn't let the England team get any rest the night before. Karma is sweeter than honey.
With the little honey pot emoji.
Oh, of course.
But the weather in Mexico City was also horrific, pouring rain, which accomplished Fly 593 noted ironically.
What do they say?
They wrote, the Mexicans brought fireworks. We brought the depressing, endless rain. Two can play at this game.
That's amazing. But the hostility definitely rubbed neutrals the wrong way, too. User War and Peace brought up previous behavior in the tournament, saying Mexico was boned when Ecuadorian players were threatened and their families abused and had shot thrown on them after they had already won.
Wow.
Yeah, they finished by saying, I was all about Mexico's run, but no class when it came to winning or competing.
It got incredibly blunt after that. Star Wars 011 just said Mexican fans were so arrogant before LOL.
And Remat Duno took it further, adding, have always been some of the worst fans. Liga MX fans are disgraceful every time they have games in USA.
There was even that bizarre delay regarding lightning near the stadium before the match.
Oh, right. I forgot about that.
Yeah, AD completely dismissed the player safety protocols, joking, how about we just start the game and if you get struck by lightning, then it's a skill issue.
A skill issue. That's peak Reddit.
It really is.
As for the altitude, user DBM7 thought the English complaints were overblown, saying, you would have thought Estadio Azteca was on the moon, the way people go on about altitude.
But once England started winning, historical Powell, 1635, threw it right back with, they said we'd struggle with the altitude TBF.
While Blind Optimist 13 was just exhausted by the broadcasting buzzwords, screaming in all caps, I never want to hear the word altitude again.
I think we all felt that way by the end of the broadcast.
Definitely. The online vitriol really started bleeding into cultural insults, though. Bushman of the Kalahari went completely nuclear of the Mexican support.
Oh, this one was harsh.
Yeah, they said they shit the bed, served on a silver platter, and they still managed to lose it all. Most of their fans are a bunch of wagon-hopping whores.
Which prompted Ig to highlight the absurdity of that specific insult, asking, Mexicans typically don't root for Mexico. Weird.
Right, like how are they wagon-hopping if it's their own country?
Exactly. Appropriate Win 9925 chimed in to tell the first guy, sheesh, woke up on the wrong side of the bed this morning, buddy.
The cultural defense of certain controversial chants also flared up. Mr. Chef defended the crowd, arguing, if you are saying this shit for the shout, it has never been homophobic. We use puto as gringos. Use fucker or motherfucker.
And Villain J13 tried the classic whataboutism deflection, saying, maybe you should look into Italian fans.
But Herbie O'Mal wasn't buying any excuses, calling them disgraceful hosts. Thank God they're out, trying to terrorize the enemy at night.
To which DGSF practically shrugged, replying, that's literally nothing new and it happens in other countries as well. Relax.
Interestingly, you did have some self-policing from the Mexican fans.
You did, yeah.
User Ayu, he said it, admitted, I hope those fans wake up with the worst hangover for their lives tomorrow. This is coming from a Mexico fan BDW. Made us look bad.
And Funny Express 8401 really captured the exhaustion of trying to just talk about the sport.
What did they say?
They stated, if only the mods banned the American alt-writers and only left the Americans who love football, this thread would be better.
It's just a mess in those threads.
But if we step back and look at the actual mechanism of this hostility, the fireworks, the lasers, the online vitriol, it is a weaponized distraction.
Absolutely. The fans are trying to rattle the opponent's nervous system.
Right.
And early on, it looked like it worked. Mexico came out dominating possession in the opening 30 minutes, flying into tackles, completely feeding off that manic, desperate energy.
But here's where the narrative of the match completely flips.
Oh, yeah.
Despite 80,000 fans screaming for their heads, two English players decided they simply weren't going to participate in Mexico's script. Jude Bellingham and Harry Kane. They broke the matrix.
That's the perfect way to phrase it. They didn't need the ball to dominate the game. They just needed ruthless efficiency.
In the span of exactly 2 minutes, the 36th and 38th minutes, Jude Bellingham scored a quick-fire double that completely silenced the stadium.
It was stunning to watch.
The first was a towering header from a pinpoint Bukayo Saka cross. Then, practically straight from the restart, Mexico turns the ball over, Harry Kane plays a brilliant transitional pass, and Bellingham slots it home. 2-0.
Okay, stop right there, because I want to understand the psychology of that. Playing in that environment is like trying to do complex math inside a jet engine.
That's a great analogy.
Right. I look at Jude Bellingham, and it's like he's wearing noise-canceling headphones. What does it take mentally to silence the Azteca in exactly 2 minutes?
It requires a rare blend of supreme arrogance and ultimate tactical discipline. Bellingham operates on a different frequency.
He really does.
By stepping onto the pitch that night, he broke Mario Kempes' record from 1978. At exactly 23 years and 6 days old, Bellingham became the youngest player in history to make 10 World Cup appearances.
That's incredible.
He isn't intimidated by history because he's already written so much of it. He deservedly won the Michelob Ultra Superior Player of the Match.
Completely deserved.
But we cannot analyze Bellingham's brilliance without unpacking Harry Kane's mechanical role in Thomas Tuchel's system.
Right, because Kane's overall performance was everywhere.
Exactly. Kane assisted Bellingham's second goal. He scored a crucial penalty in the 60th minute, though he did concede a penalty later in the 69th minute by fouling Brian Gutierrez.
Talk to me about that mechanism, actually. I'm a bit confused by Kane's role here.
Sure.
He wears the number 9. He's the striker. But half the time he was popping up in his own half? Was that desperation or by design?
Oh, it was absolute design. Thomas Tuchel set a brilliant tactical trap. A traditional striker stays high up the pitch, pushing against the center backs.
Right.
But Tuchel had Kane operate almost as a false 9 or a traditional number 10. By dropping deep into the midfield, Kane forces the Mexican center backs to make an impossible choice. Well, if they stay back, Kane gets the ball with time to turn and survey the field. If they step up to pressure him, they leave massive pockets of space behind them.
Oh, I see.
The moment a Mexican defender stepped up toward Kane, Bellingham acted like a heat-seeking missile into that empty space.
Wow.
Kane drags the defense out of shape, and Bellingham exploits the void. It's geometric perfection.
It's the lock and key. Kane pulls the pin, Bellingham throws the grenade. Let's see how the internet tacticians digested this masterclass from the English attackers.
Yeah, they loved it.
User Nightbuzz Enebus was in awe of the setup, pointing out Kane's assist on that second goal was absolutely incredible.
And Hope Is Not Dead fully understood the tactical mechanism we just discussed. They noted Kane once again showing he's a fantastic team player. He showcases everyone's skill set so beautifully that sometimes I forget he's an absolute gun in his own right.
Mad Scallop kept it simple and euphoric, just posting, Viva Inglaterra.
And Gis79 mocked the entire pregame narrative we discussed earlier, asking, where is the famous altitude now?
User It's Coming Grode summarized the sheer pragmatism of the victory, saying, proper gritty performance after the Quansah red card. Bellingham's goal set the tone and the lads really dug deep. Tough way to win, but that's tournament football in it. On to the quarters.
Inomquat 2K19 appreciated the battle, writing, Mexico fought hard, but England fought harder. This team may actually go far.
Even neutrals were captivated. CEO Glera 84 shared insane bangers this weekend. My God, not even a citizen of these countries, and my heart was going miles an hour, old Mel.
They added, bravo, Mexico, you gave it all. Congrats, England, what a performance.
Champagne Abuelo immediately recognized the historical weight of what they were watching, saying, this is vintage World Cup TBF, the kind of name you'll be able to recall in 20 years.
The Gunners 14 cheered the defiance, shouting, get in! Big result against Altitude FC.
Altitude FC, that's brilliant. But the fans also noticed the unsung heroes facilitating the system, right?
Yeah, Ryan Bordello noted Mexico's effort, saying, Mesut Alvarado was putting in a shift. He was everywhere, it seemed.
While Wave Off the Hands Weaver highlighted a crucial English winger, saying, Gordon was phenomenal tonight. His forward and defensive play was 10 out of 10.
And Anthony Gordon's defensive work rate was essential because tactical patience only lasts until the script gets violently flipped.
Oh boy, did it flip.
At the end of the first half, Mexico ripped up the script. In the 42nd minute, Julian Quinones scores an absolute rocket from outside the box.
It was the beautiful goal.
It was. Suddenly, it's 2-1 going into halftime, and the Azteca has a pulse again.
You could physically feel the momentum shift through the screen.
Yeah.
And then the 54th minute happens, the axis upon which this entire match rotates.
Yep.
Jarell Quansah goes into a challenge on Jesus Gallardo, and the referee pulls out a straight red card. England is down to 10 men with over 40 minutes left to play at altitude.
If we map out the crowd momentum, it looks like a heart monitor.
What do you mean?
Well, the stadium was flatlining at 0-2. It resurrected with a heartbeat at 1-2. It went absolutely nuclear, pure adrenaline at the red card.
Oh, definitely.
The Mexican fans smelled blood. But moments later, Mexico's keeper, Raul Rangel, makes a calamitous error, fouling Anthony Gordon in the box.
And Harry Kane steps up in the 60th minute, 3-1.
Right, so the crowd deflates again, but wait, 9 minutes later, Kane fouls Gutierrez in his own box. Raul Jimenez buries the penalty in the 69th minute, 3-2.
And the manic energy returns for the final 20 minutes. Okay, I have a crazy theory I want to run by you.
Let's hear it.
Tell me if I'm totally wrong. Is getting a red card sometimes a weird blessing in disguise?
A blessing? How so?
Hear me out. When it was 11 versus 11, England was caught in two minds. Do we attack? Do we possess the ball? Do we defend? The red card completely simplified their objective.
Ah, I see what you're saying.
It forced them to stop trying to play pretty football and just survive. They didn't have to overthink it anymore. Just pack the box, head the ball away, and let Jordan Pickford scream at everyone.
You've just perfectly described the psychology of the low block. It's not a blessing, but it absolutely provides structural clarity.
Structural clarity, I like that.
When you are down a man, you concede the width of the pitch and the midfield. You pull your remaining 9 outfield players into your own penalty area, creating 2 tightly packed horizontal lines of defense.
Right.
You eliminate the half spaces where players like Bellingham normally operate. The trade-off is you are daring the opposition to break you down. You are saying, we have packed the keyhole with 6'4" bodies. Let's see if you have the key.
So what does Mexico's manager Javier Aguirre do with this massive advantage? He has an extra man for 40 minutes. Why didn't he pick the lock?
Because he resorted to what the internet viciously labeled dinosaur tactics.
Yeah, dinosaur tactics, right.
Playing against a low block requires intricate, rapid passing triangles to pull defenders out of position or precise cutbacks from the goal line.
Yeah, you need finesse.
Exactly. Instead, Aguirre instructed his team to just spam high, aimless crosses into the box from 30 yards out. It is a mathematical failure.
Wait.
You are crossing the ball into the air against towering English center backs whose literal specialty is heading the ball away. England essentially built a wall of British steel.
A wall of British steel.
And on the rare occasions that wall was breached, Jordan Pickford was there to make sprawling, unbelievable saves to bail them out.
It was like watching someone try to chop down a redwood tree with a butter knife. It was infuriating to watch Mexico just lob the ball in over and over.
It really was.
Let's see how the Reddit tacticians tore into this chaotic second half. Colta Gorthars is actually the one who coined that great phrase, saying, Mexico went up against a wall of British steel and paid the ultimate price.
And Darkside Manx echoed your exact frustration regarding the Mexican approach. They said, while it was a good game, I hated how the last 35-plus minutes just turned into Mexico crossing the ball while England just belted everything back into Mexico's half.
Team Rocket Apologist was ruthless regarding the manager, saying, Aguirre strikes again, third time actually. Dinosaur tactics and clown FA. Coming from a U.S. fan.
Derry G97 agreed with our tactical assessment, writing, to only spam crosses after the 60th minute against a bus that is clearly better in the air than you is definitely a tactical choice.
But you had users like Music Novici Oscar heavily defending England's brutalist pragmatism.
Yeah, they were unapologetic.
They wrote, down to 10, exhausted, playing at altitude already. Any criticism of the choice of tactic at the end is totally ridiculous. We were there to win and nothing else. Doesn't matter if it didn't entertain you.
And we cannot overstate the performance of the goalkeeper. AV4 Prez gave massive credit, saying, Pickford absolutely bailed England out. It was what it was. Without his first half saves, it's easily 4-2 Mexico at the half.
I love this comment from a Mexican fan, Ordinary Robot, who captured that specific type of sports hatred mixed with respect.
Oh, I saw this one.
They said, W who is this goalkeeper? I hate him. He is so fucking good. Good game, guys. Saludos desde Mexico.
Logikissel joked about the sheer physical exertion Pickford went through, saying Pickford will remember this game for the rest of his life. He has probably lost a pound.
And Litouf Troy had zero sympathy for Jesus Gallardo, the player who drew the red card on Quansah. They said, Gallardo talking up a lot of nonsense on the pitch for someone who can't make a single good cross an entire half.
The tactical debate in the threads really highlighted the divide in how fans view the game. Simpleton77 just felt it was standard tournament fare, saying, about what I expected. Great game.
While Fun focused on Mexico's catastrophic defensive breakdown leading to Kane's penalty, noting the positioning of Mexico's defenders at the penalty incident was terrible, and to concede right after getting the red card advantage must have been deflating.
There was also confusion about the suspensions moving forward. Too Tranquilo asked, So the England red will be suspended.
To which Beefy Queef accurately replied, doubt it, it was a pretty nailed-on red.
Big Booty Boys joked about royal intervention, saying only if King Charles gets on the phone.
And T-74,000 bluntly stated the rules. That's what happens with reds.
Looking ahead, Big Albatross 3050 warned that this performance wasn't sustainable, saying, Mexico bent us over a barrel the entire game. Tuchel needs to get the guys to tighten up.
Old Barnack actually theorized that the defensive shell was entirely planned, writing, my guess is there was a deliberate strategy to play more defense to combat the altitude.
Jim Magnum disagrees slightly, pointing back to the red card, saying, it's more being down to 10 men for nearly half the game and the fact that Mexico likes to counter and are shaky defending IMO.
The referee was heavily scrutinized too, as always.
Naturally.
Gold Star thought, that penalty on Kane was a bit weak. Good game overall. Which prompted Lone Commercial 112 to ask for clarification. Do you mean against Kane?
The frustration regarding Mexico's lack of a clinical edge was rampant. LGSM 58 noted, was rooting for Mexico, but their defenders underestimated England's counter speed.
And Nolisser 617 pointed out the absurdity of their attacking impotence, saying, to think Mexico's best chance in the last half hour was a John Stones clearance that went wide by a foot.
Different Cat 106 summarized the overall feeling of English resilience with, Pickford, man of the match. England are through.
And regarding the sheer length of the agonizing second half, long-mentioned 1532 defended the referee's massive chunk of added time. They wrote, 11 minutes is totally realistic for the amount of stoppage, 2 VAR, an injury, a PK, hydration break.
It was undeniably a chaotic, physically brutal half of football, defined purely by survival.
Absolutely brutal.
But amidst all of this intense, high-stakes tactical drama, we absolutely have to pivot to the most bizarre, surreal subplot of the entire match.
Oh, yes, please.
The comic relief, the instant meme status, the absolute lore of Jordan Henderson.
This might be my favorite part of the entire tournament so far.
It's so good.
Let me set this up. Jordan Henderson is 36 years old. He is an unused substitute. He played exactly 0 minutes in this match. 0.
Not a single second.
But somehow, he managed to become the main talking point for half the internet. He gets a yellow card while standing on the touchline in his warm-up bib for shouting at the referee and actively kicking a ball away from a Mexican player trying to take a quick throw-in.
Which is funny enough on its own.
Right. And then, and this is where it crosses into absolute comedy, while the team is celebrating Harry Kane's penalty, Henderson attempts to jump over a sponsorship advertising hoarding, slips, falls awkwardly, and breaks his wrist.
Ouch.
He literally requires an oxygen mask and is stretchered off the pitch.
It is the pinnacle of the internet's obsession with irony.
It really is.
We spend hours dissecting expected goals, low blocks, and tactical geometry, and then an aging veteran trips over a Wonderwall advertisement, gets stretchered away while sucking down oxygen, and breaks the internet. Why does the internet latch onto these moments so ferociously during high-stakes games?
I think it's a pressure release valve.
Yeah, that makes sense.
The fans are vibrating with stress. They are watching their team clinging on for dear life with 10 men. When something that inherently absurd happens, a guy who isn't even playing getting a card and a major injury, it gives everyone a moment to just laugh and breathe.
Like a massive exhale.
Exactly. It's like getting a speeding ticket while sitting in your driveway with the car off. Let's look at how the community reacted because they instantly recognized they were witnessing meme history.
Let's do it.
Itchy Tasty 2 started the hyperbole, saying, I used to be atheist, but then God intervened and said we don't have to play Quansah or Henderson next game, and now I'm a believer.
Supervillain Mustache felt some empathy through shared childhood trauma, writing, my cousin did this trying to hop a fence when we were kids, had to get his wrist put in a brace. Unlucky Hendo.
ThemeFed7 was shocked by the visual on the broadcast, noting, based on the reaction in the stretcher, looks like he's got oxygen. He snapped his wrist or arm under his own weight. Absolutely terrible.
Always Blessed 333 brought in the local mythology, writing, El Azteca requiere sangre después de la derrota de Mexico, se ha dicho, which translates to, the Azteca requires blood after Mexico's defeat, it is said.
Impossible Finish laid out his statistical impact for the night, shouting, 0 minutes played, 1 yellow card, 1 injury, 1 fucking win.
No Aspect 4304 confessed the stress of the broadcast, panning to a stretcher, saying, had a heart attack along with half the country.
Administrative Rip 563 guessed the cause early on before the replays, asking, possibly stacked it over a hoarding.
Royal Nobody 6554 tried to be the voice of serious reasons, stating, he's injured himself badly, hardly something to celebrate.
But Primary Cat 4138 couldn't ignore the sheer novelty of the achievement. They wrote, "Don't think I've ever seen a player not actually play, get booked, get injured, and stretchered off before. Bravo."
Let's analyze the vocabulary being used here, actually. In Fiction 82 sarcastically called him, what a cheerleader he's been.
While MDROG76 proclaimed him the man, the myth, the legend.
And Pull Cabbage added, what a player! What a man! They are actively elevating a blunder into mythical status.
Undercover Color noted the genuine severity of it, though, saying, "On the oxygen too, so I bet he dislocated something."
Angle Albanock 4 just kept reiterating the absurdity of the stat line, writing, he didn't even play, and he's managed to get a yellow and get stretchered off.
My favorite label came from Laga Bataka, who dubbed him a moral support merchant.
The grouchy gamer YT said he was, leading from the front, at least in regards to celebrating.
Angel 199X accurately figured, has to be a record of some kind, with a crying laughing emoji.
Scenery5276 used a great hockey reference, calling it the reverse Gordie Howe hat trick.
Oh, what's that?
A Gordie Howe hat trick is a goal, an assist, and a fight. Henderson got 0 minutes, a card, and an injury.
That is hilarious. The younger generation slang was heavily present, too. Thick Neighborhood 41 said, so much aura that he got a yellow card for it.
Polbig agreed with the aura theory, writing, Thomas accurately had him stand on the side of pitch. Just his presence, radiating the aura.
When Slug innocently asked if he was just knackered, Double Ek 1234 deadpanned. He didn't play. Keane said he hurt his arm.
Free Up Dad was genuinely in awe of the efficiency, saying, didn't play, a yellow and an injury, what a man.
Stukia bullet-pointed the chaotic timeline. Didn't play, got booked anyway, injured, and had to be stretched off.
Tutor Total 3595 sarcastically praised the manager's tactical genius, writing, 0 minutes played, a yellow card, and stretchered off. Brilliant selection from Tuchel.
The Band 87 noticed the medical intervention, saying, supposedly using oxygen, so must have done something serious enough.
Soviet Batman 64 confirmed the rumors, adding, Kane said he's hurt his arm.
Fit Artichoke 8738 gave the best play-by-play of the incident, doesn't play a single minute, gets yellow card, falls off ad board, refuses to elaborate, gets stretchered off.
Did Posit correctly called it incredible efficiency.
Empty Lemon 3939 said fondly, never change Hendo.
Sir Dyer leaned into the age jokes, saying, someone come get their grandpa.
Rip City 20151 captured the sheer exhaustion of the viewer, asking, this game has absolutely everything. What the fuck is happening?
Puzzled Map 3912 stripped away the jokes and stated plainly, he broke his arm.
Unsubtle Robbery asked a hilarious conspiratorial question. Did Maguire push him off?
De Crookster called the entire sequence a remarkable effort TBF.
Look Alive was so confused by the chaotic broadcast directing, saying, felt like I was going mad watching a bunch of physics running on after the celebrations, yet absolutely nothing mentioned.
Ari Bibi Evan respected the universal commitment to the cause, writing, everyone put their body on the line tonight, fair play.
Lunar Bill defined it perfectly as absolute peak Jordan Henderson.
Sanctisunum called it a generational performance.
Even over on the broader World Cup subreddit, it was trending. The Bite the Boy called it a certified unk moment.
Lollipop Chainsaws laughed, bro celebrated too hard.
LGA provided the forensic breakdown of the fall, noting he just tries to hop over the advertising sign and his hand he's using to keep himself stable just slips and he lands on it so awkwardly.
Reliable Reindeer gave the post-match update, saying, Tuchel confirmed it was his wrist and he said it looked bad.
Golden Boot fan actually sympathized with the tactical headache it caused, writing, man, that's such a rough way to get hurt. England's going to need to adjust the midfield rotation for the quarters.
Bayar remained astounded by the paradox, saying, wow, yellow card and injury, neither of which happening while playing.
BDCR7 brutally compared him to a Mexican striker who had a poor game, laughing. Same outcome Santi Jimenez, but Henderson didn't play.
Cuts Deep snarked about his inclusion in the 26-man roster, adding, well worth the spot on the plane.
Pork Beef Horse Chicken summed it up beautifully. This game has so much lore.
Okay, Paramedic 3605 declared, this truly might be the best game at this World Cup so far, lol.
Not a Posh Twat predicted the future cultural impact of this trivia. They said, who's the only England player to be booked and get injured in a match they didn't participate in will absolutely be on pub quizzes from now on.
ENT86 painted a vivid picture of the post-match interviews, writing, trying to catch your breath, listening to Kane speak like Kermit the Frog, then watching a yellow-carded Jordy fucking Henderson on oxygen in a stretcher was the end of me. What an absolute bonkers night.
Program 2 Love defended Kane's raspy voice from the altitude, replying, to be fair, Kane was trying to catch his breath too. Hard to do that while speaking for him.
Feedom tracked the entire tragicomic timeline. Gets into the squad due to morale reasons, gets a yellow card for shouting at the ref from sidelines, bins himself of an advertising board and breaks his wrist. Now England a man short for the rest of the tourney.
Stroikin referenced the Oasis song, famously sung by English fans, joking, took out by the advertising wall during Wonderwall.
Program 2 Love followed up with a terrible, wonderful pun, singing he took a fall-L off the ad board wall.
Jude 2076 declared, "I've seen enough, give him the Ballon d'Or."
Lord Tetton repeated the popular slang, just aura farming at this point.
Resend observed the manager's reaction, noting Tuchel was fuming.
No, Shoe5382 pleaded, for crying out loud, let Uncle Jordan pull his hamstring in peace.
Tuchel defended him from a troll, saying, "Hey, I know he's from Sunderland, but you don't have to call him a freak."
Baron Warden was completely lost regarding the booking, asking, what did he do to get the yellow? I missed it during the game.
Ordy 100 just listed the bullet points for latecomers. 0 minutes played, yellow card, out on injury.
Massive Foundation 37 side, this match keeps on giving.
FTX's accountant was ruthless about his age, saying, "Not freak when you're over 35.
Oppenheimer 1945 cheered the sheer shithousery of the event, writing, game's not gone, great jerk from Henderson.
Pack Off-Known felt genuine pity, asking, "That is really sad. Isn't this the same guy that got a yellow from off-field?"
To which Suzel replied with perfect dry wit, no, not sad. The English call this football heritage.
Exciting guest 8933 was unimpressed by the antics. Golding, sorry, but that's quite unprofessional. Come on, man.
Hot Frosting 1192 just laughed at the visual of the stretchering, saying, and getting stretchered off too.
Oreo Luahones predicted his inevitable return, joking, "He will feature in next match and still get a yellow. Man received yellow card for no reason."
DV12 simply called him English legend Jordan Henderson.
Chigatron noted the PR masterpiece, saying, "One hell of a way to make the highlight reel and take the spotlight off of Sir Harry."
Annoying Bot 2026 theorized this was the master plan all along, writing, this is why Henderson had to be in the squad. Injured in the celebration and booked as a substitute, he makes things happen even when not on the pitch.
Guy Havertz Haydewatch called him the most intelligent Englishman.
Yates Gore Synthobath loved the absurdity of the medical gear, adding, Henderson absolutely shithousing the Mexicans by cracking out the oxygen tank.
Panic and Petrichor was still just stuck on the basic facts, saying Henderson didn't even play and still got a yellow and stretchered off injured.
Slushapakana explained the actual reason for the yellow card, clarifying he ran up to the touchline yelling at the ref and also tried to stop the Mexican player from taking the throw, I'm pretty sure.
Jim Plank promised, the streets will remember Henderson at the Azteca.
Pristine Ask 1973 called it a proper performance.
Difficult Key 1907 called it one for the history books.
Cicada NE 3066 placed him among the literal gods of the sport who have graced that stadium. Pele 70 at the Azteca, Maradona 86 at the Azteca, Henderson 26 at the Azteca.
Investigator IG 9354 joined in on the historical puns, saying, first there was the Hand of God match at Azteca, now we have the arm of Henderson too.
Fat Walcott summed up the mood of the English fan base, writing, the game has reached a level of we're so fucking back that was never thought to be even remotely plausible.
Long Show 5279 concluded, yellow card, and injured without playing a single minute. Heritage.
Scouse Holler joke, his just on tour.
Mugway said, well, he was there as a vibes player, so it's fitting, really.
And finally, GYM94 was genuinely concerned about his health, pointing out, a fall at Henderson's age can be really serious, a huge loss for England.
It is absolute madness. But, you know, the meme cycle is fleeting. We have to transition from the absurdity of Henderson back to the very real, very raw emotions of the millions of fans following the final whistle.
Right, because once the memes fade, you are left with the stark, devastating contrast between the Azteca's heartbreak, the failure on home soil, and the English elation.
Let me ask you about the Mexican reaction here. Have you ever wanted something so badly for so long that you actually sabotage it?
I mean, we've all been there to some degree.
Right. That you turn on the very thing you love because you can't handle the vulnerability of hoping anymore. Because that is exactly what it felt like watching the Mexican fans turn on their own team at the end.
You've just eloquently described the cycle of fatalism. It is the cultural weight of being a fan of a team that perpetually reaches the knockout stages but can never, ever seem to advance.
40 years.
Exactly, 40 years of the Quinton Partido curse. The pressure they put on their own players, combined with that incredibly hostile environment they intentionally created, It almost becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy of stress.
The players definitely felt it.
The Mexican players looked tight. They looked panicked in those final 20 minutes. They were rushing crosses instead of building plays.
Which played right into England's hands.
Right. For England, however, this gritty 10-man survival was pure vindication. It validates everything Thomas Tuchel has been trying to build. He claimed his squad had a proper mentality, and holding off Mexico in the Azteca a man down objectively proves it.
Let's read through this final block of Reddit reactions to see the actual emotional toll this 90 minutes took on the human beings watching it.
This is where it gets heavy.
The Mexican fatalism was summed up perfectly by Significant Nail 880, who essentially broke up with the team, saying, "Mexico, I was rooting for you, but 10 versus 11, 1 penalty, and 11 plus men? Nah, you bombed."
Quansah 3 recognized the sheer violence of the effort, calling it an absolute dogfight of a game.
The conspiracy theory started immediately from frustrated fans. 6 Feet Bitch claimed 1 goal was all they needed, and they decided to bench Kobe, meaning Quinones, and Kobe agreed. I smell setup.
1901 brought up past tournament narratives to contextualize the chaos, saying, "Did you forget what the U.S. did to Iran already?"
Secret Priority 4679 was incredibly dismissive of the host nation, saying, "Oh well, try harder next time, Mexico."
But Nikki Cowboy 20 remained beautifully positive, adding, "Great game all around, well-deserved scoreline."
Roslavian King provided a very sober analysis of the failure, noting Mexico had at least 3 amazing goal-scoring opportunities during the game that they messed up. The last 20 minutes had mostly desperate, long, high balls. Still one of the best games thus far.
Kelvin Ball 86 made another Oasis joke about the English defense, saying, "You could call it a wonder wall."
Equivalent to Ask 4586 was bitter, already looking ahead and begging the next opponent, "Come on, Norway, beat these pricks."
To which Representative Artist replied with classic English arrogance, "Good luck with that because it's coming home."
Lollipop 999 praised the English grit, writing, "England showed they can suffer, even with 10 men. This squad will go to the final."
Fernando Villalem laughed at the Mexican fans' complaints, adding, "Fuck, you all love to cry, lol."
Sid had complained about a specific refereeing decision disrupting the flow, saying, "Sure, but the ref stopped the play, so now I can't."
Peachy Fortune was incredibly gracious in defeat, writing, "Felicidades Inglaterra, estuvo increíble el juego, superaron nuestras expectativas y cautivaron al mundo. My liver can finally rest in peace, lol."
We have to talk about the physical exhaustion of the fans, too. Due to the time zones, this game ended incredibly late in Europe.
Oh, the time zones were brutal.
No Throwaway for Me admitted a personal tragedy, saying, "I fucking fell asleep at the 30th minute mark."
Monster 90 looked forward, saying, "I think next game will be more exciting."
Seriously, Bad Golf 88 cheered Kane's pursuit of a trophy, writing, "You're nearly there, King."
Mr. Sean Sirtu shared a funny family story about the time zone struggle, saying, "I live in the U.S. My dad back home told me he was staying up to watch, but I haven't heard from him all night. Either the delayed kickoff sent him to bed or the game finished him off."
Hopeful Kangaroo 366 abandoned all Monday responsibilities, deciding, "Fuck sleep, I've got nothing to do tomorrow."
Acceptable Step 4145 asked the medical question we were all feeling, asking, "Anyone else need a cardiologist and therapist after this game?"
Impossible Piano 389 replied to that, saying, "Easy couple of years of the life expectancy."
King Lochner 16 was too stunned for words, just typing, "lol."
Visionary 87 detailed their massive struggle to stay awake, saying, "Dismayed when they announced kickoff was delayed. Did fall asleep and missed all 3 goals, but woke up for the end of the first half." Absolutely incredible effort from all of them.
Particular Current 87 made a massive tragic alarm error, confessing, "I set my alarm. The missus woke me at 4 a.m. to tell me the result. I'd set my alarm for Sunday morning instead of Monday."
Oh no, that's the worst.
It really is. Guy B. Roisey asked a fascinating tactical hypothetical regarding substitutions, wondering, if we had taken Tane off and it goes to Pens, can we bring him back on?
And the answer to that is no, by the way.
Right, definitely no. Available Pop 701 provided a vital link for the sleepers, posting full England versus Mexico match highlights.
Gauji Salad Bar 420 wanted political intervention for the Quansah red card. Joking. Maybe
Yes.
Boris Johnson or Liz Truss can get that red card reversed.
Leonardo Montes was incredibly bitter towards the officiating, saying, "Ref was so trash. Hope Helen destroys England."
Rick Halal asked a hilarious question referencing past tournaments, saying, "Did Trump really call FIFA to get USA team red card excused? This is something else."
Akram looked at the financial disparity between the two squads, noting, even more amazing when you realize one team is worth $200 million and the other is worth $1.4 billion.
The cultural friction returned at the end, too. Aromatic Bar 438 hurled an insult in Spanish, Dull at 4861 replied, "Cry loser. Yes, 2394S0832. Mocked. Haha, you're mad."
And Joseph told them to calm down in local slang, saying, "No andes de ardido, a chiller al anger y no acá," which means, don't be bitter, go cry at the Angel of Independence monument, not here.
Agri Machine arrogantly renamed a body of water, typing Gulf of England.
Samorphous lost their temper and just called someone stupid.
Baber Simps asked a cheeky question about an English defender. Any chance John Stones finds a club?
Lazaz defended Mexico's overall performance, refusing the fatalist narrative, saying, "Mexico almost robbed this one. I don't know what is everybody here on."
Pristine Advance 512 lamented the lack of a final touch, writing, "They just needed one more chance, bro. Then they would finally do it."
More Firm 3827 aggressively disagreed, replying, "They barely did anything."
Square J420 criticized the atrocious Mexican finishing during that 40-minute siege, asking, "As in, most of the shots they tried wasn't to the goalpost."
Disaster was completely broken by the 40-year cycle, just saying, same shit every 4 fucking years.
Shalashi celebrated the away victory in the fortress, writing, "We can dance Nobby's dance, we can dance it at the Azteca."
Dismix Red agreed with a previous point about pitch conditions, saying randomly, "I agree that Portland should be stamped out."
D4NK heavily criticized the refereeing consistency, saying, "The Mexican players constantly hounding the ref and talking shit to England players and getting nothing for it, while the one-time Kane contested the pen call, he got a yellow. That was Jerusalem."
Hagoromo-san agreed, adding, "That ref was wearing blinds, I swear."
The Mexican fans immediately demanded a managerial scalp. Pitaloco demanded change, saying, "Javier Aguirre needs to step down Mexico. Rafa Marquez should be the next coach, TBH."
Pussy Licking defended the manager's initial game plan, arguing, "Firing manager isn't always the solution for better results. I have never seen Mexico press so better all game."
Global Estimate 1937 agreed, blaming the player's execution, saying, "Aguirre did a good job. It's just that Mexico got overwhelmed by England defending effectively."
Sensei was optimistic for the future despite the heartbreak, saying, "Aguirre did great with this lineup. This game, they didn't give up until it was over. I think Aguirre and the talent they have can go far next World Cup."
The foreign pie just trolled the losers, saying, "Hold that."
A 13 Cool commented on the Rafa Marquez managerial rumors, saying, "He is already going to be they were talking at it."
Roy's 90 summarized the tactical failure perfectly. They wrote, "Sucks to lose, but the English were simply better and did more with less. This is how our team loses, as there's a lot of effort, but less effectiveness and smart play."
And Celerome 8 brought out the classic, devastating, fatalistic quote that haunts Mexican football. They said, there's a saying that goes, "Jugaron como nunca, perdieron como siempre," which means they played like never before and lost like always. England did what they had to do.
HissyFit1 asked, "Was the referee on Mexico's side, Wads?" It came off that way to me. To which Saucy Pergo 1 replied fairly, "Honestly, he's pretty fair."
Mundane Dirt 4-077 complained, "What is with the South American teams this tournament? It's a disgrace. Should have kept it in North America."
Which led to a geography lesson. Marzipan External 2706 pointed out, "You are so uneducated, it's craze."
Silitil added, "You wouldn't believe where Mexico City is."
And Dudu Farton clarified the obvious, stating Mexico is North America.
Slim Shady was furious at the squandered opportunity, saying, "Bunch of fucking idiots this Mexican side was. Fucking shameful what they managed to pull off today."
Coolio94 asked about the historical naming convention of the loss, wondering, could this Mexico defeat be considered an Aztecazo? Meaning an unexpected defeat of the home team at the Azteca.
Outside Natural 722 and Iamanu Mapalumpa both arrived late to the chaotic aftermath, just asking bewildered, what happened?
T.S. Dragon simply posted 100 emoji to summarize the drama.
T. Baumgartner bragged about the spoils of victory, saying, "We'll keep the cup, thank you. Got plenty of Aztec artifacts to go around here."
That Mang was blunt with the home team, writing, "Mexico have no one to blame but themselves."
Expensive Range 7204 was looking past the drama to the quarterfinals, saying, "Don't care who wins, but I want to see who we are going to face. Too much joy for us."
ThaiNote69 sarcastically predicted the thread's descent into madness, saying, "I'm sure this will be a civil thread."
Better Finances tried to keep the spirit alive, cheering, "Vamos, Mexico."
Frankie431 showed incredible sportsmanship, saying, "Best of lucky to all my English brothers and sisters. I've been having a blast watching your team play."
Mountain Snow 3613 brought up the terrifying specter of England's next opponent, saying, "If Mexico had Haaland, they'd have 7 goals, Arn."
Prada Devil 07 tried to explain a complex refereeing rule to angry fans, saying, People stop commenting. If you don't know the rules, this isn't a red no triple punishment.
And finally, an automated message from Auto Moderator trying and failing to keep the peace in a digital war zone. A general reminder to read the rules in the sidebar, treat your fellow fans with respect, and stay focused on the beautiful game.
Good luck with that auto moderator. I mean, that thread is a monument to human stress.
Seriously.
Okay, let's step back and summarize this absolutely incredible narrative arc. You have the crushing hostile pressure, the altitude, the lasers, the fireworks, and a desperate fan base fighting a 40-year curse.
Which is a heavy burden on its own.
Right. And then you have Jude Bellingham entirely ignoring that pressure to score a brilliant double.
Unbelievable composure.
You had the absolute chaos of the Quansah red card, forcing England to abandon their tactical game plan, drop into a low block, and just survive a barrage of aimless Mexican crosses.
And you have the surreal, almost comedic relief of Jordan Henderson getting a yellow card, breaking his wrist over an advertising hoarding, and requiring oxygen without ever stepping foot on the actual pitch.
Pure lore.
Exactly. And finally, you have the deeply contrasting emotional fallout. The Mexican fans, consumed by their fatalism, turning on their own manager because they couldn't pick the lock of a 10-man defense.
And the English fans, physically exhausted by the late kickoff and the stress, but feeling totally validated.
Because up next, England advances to face Erling Haaland and Norway in the quarterfinals in Miami.
The geography changes. They go from 7,000 feet in the air to sea level. But the tactical geometry of the pitch remains exactly the same.
It's going to require another monumental defensive effort to stop Haaland, especially without Quansah, who will be suspended due to that red card.
It's going to be tough.
But if this England squad can survive the Azteca with 10 men against that level of hostility, they will feel invincible. They will feel they can survive absolutely anything.
So we've talked about tactics, we've talked about altitude, we've talked about internet memes. But what does this all mean for you, the listener?
Good question.
I want you to think about this. If a 10-man team can silence 80,000 hostile fans at 7,000 feet of altitude simply by refusing to participate in the noise, what invisible altitudes in your own life are you letting defeat you before the whistle even blows?
That's a great point.
How often do we let the environment, the critics, or the historical failures of our past dictate how we play our game today? Take a breath. Ignore the lasers. Focus on the flat green rectangle in front of you.
And maybe watch your step.
Yes, and please, for the love of everything, stay away from advertising hoardings while you celebrate your victories.